D'Amico calls. We want Trey Lance. Here's what I'm saying. The conversation starts. Here's the picks that Houston has. And I think that because we're going to assign players to this based on my draft board, on our draft book that we put out. So it's not just picks because it's easy to talk about picks. We're going to put players to them. Okay. Here we go. I'm telling D'Amico, look, dude, this conversation starts with your 12th pick. Houston Texans have the number 2 pick, the number 12 pick. Remember, they traded Deshaun Watson. It got that back from whatever. So that's there. So number 2, number 12, those are their first round picks. I'm saying this conversation starts with the 12th pick. If D'Amico, if you are not willing to include that pick, this is not a conversation we will have. Now, Texas could be like, we're interested. Let's see what we can work out. Then I would say, okay, if I was trading this deal, I'm telling you right now, and I believe Brock Purdy was the guy, I would take the 12th pick and I would say a 4th rounder next year, and then I would put conditions on it, huge conditions. Number of starts or touchdowns or whatever could become a 3rd or a 2nd, right? So I'm taking the 12th pick and a 4th next year that could become a 3rd. If he starts 10 games, if he starts every game, it becomes, or if he wins 6 games, it becomes a 3rd. If he wins 8 games, it becomes a 2nd. Something along those lines. That's what I would negotiate for. Now, here's the issue, and I'll play out what I've gone through and looked up, which players I think could be available at those points. I don't think the Houston Texans would pay that. I don't think that's the market value for where Trey currently is. Buy low, sell high, right? The injuries, but he is only 22 years old. And so that's where, man, so again, that's my starting point. Now, if you did that trade, let's just flesh it out. The 49ers get the number 12 pick. We'll go through the cap casualties of trading Trey, right? That's going to be the last thing we talk about on here. At number 12, here are my players that would be available. Michael Mayer, the number 1 tight end. He's incredible. I wouldn't spend it on him, but I'm that high on him. I would not spend it on him, however. Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa. Love that dude. Edge rusher. Darnell Washington. You'd have your choice of a lot of tackles. I do not believe Paris Johnson will be there. He's my number 1 offensive tackle. I do not think Skoronski will be there. He's my number 2. Those guys will be great, but I don't think either will be there. Darnell Wright, I think the best right tackle in this class out of Tennessee would be there. And Anton Harrison, left tackle OU. So those are the types of players, depending on if you want to go tight end, edge, get your stud lineman. That's what would be there. That's why I'm saying 12 or bust. I don't want to do that. Now, for those of you that think Trey Lance is a bust and you just want to move on, Danny Tundra, shout out to Danny, but he said it's going to take a 2nd and a 5th round pick to get that done. Okay, let's stick with the Texans. Let's flesh that out. They picked 33rd, and their 5th round pick is 161. So that would be for the number 33 pick and the number 161 pick. Who would be there available at those spots if you wanted to do this? I'm not saying do this. I'm saying this is what it would look like. Number 33, I would pick edge rusher out of Auburn, Derek Hall. I'm very high on him. If you wanted to go tight end, Sam Laporta. I think he would be there. If you want to go offensive line, I think Cody Mock would be there. That would be the pick. Or Blake Freeland, but I think it's a little early for him. And so now with these guys, you're getting into, man, they're not quite blue chip players. They are fits. They have upside. But, man, are you giving up on a 22-year-old quarterback for these guys? Now, the 5th pick, 161, here's guys that I have ranked at that point or below. Running back Israel Abanakananda. I'm sure I messed that up. Tight end Will Mallory. I like him a lot. Ronnie Bell, wide receiver. Michigan, 49ers have met with him. So the question is, you're giving up on a 22-year-old quarterback, the most important position for those guys. Now, you have to get into the cap because guess what? Here's the crazy thing. It will cost you money to trade Trey Lance. You are losing more money. Trey Lance would have an $11 million dead cap hit this year. You would lose an additional $1.78 million cap hit. Additional. on what it, like, you're not getting money back if you trade him. You are losing more money, more cap, more dead cap. If you trade him, it costs to trade him because he's on a rookie deal. Now, Niners only have about 2 million. And if you get those picks, Niners would have to redo somebody's deal just to cover the loss from trading Trey Lance cap wise and then paying those new draft picks. If you get all the way up to the 12th pick, you're talking some more money. You're talking a lot more money. So now you're having to renegotiate a player that you didn't want to free up space now, cap space now, and you're pushing it down the road. This just does not fit. You're losing money to trade a 22-year-old quarterback. Do you not see like how bad business that is? I don't know. Oh, the Godfather. What's up, Nick? Look at his AVI for those of you watching. He's wearing the gold Trey Lance jersey. That's awesome, man. Appreciate you, Nick. Thank you for the contribution on the super chat. He said, "What's up, faithful?" Anyone still thinks the 49ers aren't the most popular team in the league, just pay attention to how we seem to be the only team that's making news no matter what. And the Niners haven't even done anything. They're just sitting there. You know, I tweeted out today, right before I went live, Kyle Shanahan's laughing his ass off somewhere. Like, this is hilarious. Niners aren't even doing anything. They're just sitting there. Yeah, it's interesting to me. And so you're losing all this cap, you're losing all this stuff, and you're giving up on a 22-year-old quarterback. Ugh. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. Jude says maybe the Texans do the 12th pick if their guy isn't available when they draft at number 2. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. And, you know, we're going to be live. I'm really glad you brought that up because I think that makes good sense. We're going to be live days 1 and day 2 of the draft. Niner centric coverage. And again, we'll be paying attention because guess what? The Texans make the most sense for a Trey Lance. There's no doubt about that. But that doesn't mean they're the only team going after him. And so there are other quarterback teams that would like Trey Lance. There's no doubt about that. What if the Jets don't get a deal done with Aaron Rodgers, right? What about Washington Commanders? You know, they need quarterback help. Now it's within the division, so I don't like that as much. You know, Tampa Bay, good gosh, there's no way they're happy with what they have. What about the Baltimore Ravens and the Lamar Jackson? So I'm pretty sure that's going to work itself out. But whatever. Like, there are teams out there where it's just like, man. And so as we go through this draft, yeah, we're going to be following those pretty close. Those headlines and, you know, teams that, you know, this is a spot, even though I don't think it's happening, but I want to cover that. I want to cover that. David says, John just convinced me this trade ain't happening. Go Niners. I'm telling y'all right now, Trey Lance is starting week 1, guys. He's starting the season. That's all there is to it. That's it. That's it. Logan, if we do trade someone, it's either Kinlaw or Ayuk. Man, I don't know why these, which I don't think either will happen. Yeah, I'm with you, Logan. The Niners already stated that they will pick up the 5th-year option. Yeah, talking about Ayuk there. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, Kinlaw, again, if you trade Kinlaw, you don't save any money. It cost you $4 million. Like, well, that's if you cut him. I was wrong there. I just misspoke. But let me just look because I want to make sure I'm 100% right on this. Javon Kinlaw. Okay, so if we trade Javon Kinlaw, you cut him, you lose $4 million. You trade him, you get $2 million cap relief. So what are you going to trade him for, right? You're going to get a 5th-round pick back. I'd much rather have him. Allow him to go. Javon Kinlaw, this is the last year of his deal. You're not going to pick up his 5th-year option, right? I don't think he's getting his 5th. Ayuk is. Kinlaw's not getting his 5th-year option. You let him play out this deal. He's going to sign somewhere else for, I don't know, $3 to $4 million or whatever it is. That's going to get you a comp pick. So why not get 1 year of play with Kinlaw and a comp pick instead of trading him for what the comp pick would, like, you see what I'm saying? The Niners have fleshed out their blueprint for how to sustain success and rebuild this roster. That's what it is.
The 49ers Rush Podcast.